Today we're talking about SQL date functions, which might be the most important SQL functions that you learn about. The reason for this is because they allow you to create dynamic reports that you don't need to constantly update. So think about how many KPIs you might want to report on that happened over the past 30 days. If every single time you need to run the report, you have to go in and subtract 30 days from today's date and then fix the date, you're going to be doing a ton of manual work, in which case, what was the point of learning SQL? Date functions are what allow you to create dynamic reports by using them in parameters or filters. So with that said, let's jump into our SQL server and let's start learning. So to start, like in many of these videos, we're going to open up SSMS and then we're going to log into our local host SQL Express server. If you are following along on a different database, that's great. Most of these functions should work on all databases. However, if you want to follow along with me on your own personal computer, go ahead and watch the earlier videos down below in the video series or playlist that's called Learn SQL for Free that I've linked down in the video description. So with that, here I am logging into my server, clicking connect, and I am now logged into my database. The first date function that I want to talk about is how you return the current date and time. In SQL Express, which is running T-SQL, so it's a Microsoft product, it's getDate. And this is a function that returns the current date and time of the server. So here we are. I just ran it. It's returning 2025-01, and then it's 7:52 p.m. right now when I'm recording this. Now, this is the basis for most date functions, but there's a few things that you might want to do. The first thing that you might want to do is you might want to extract a part of the date. So maybe you want to know what year something happened on, what month, or what day of the month. And that is where you can use the date part function. So date part will extract out the day. So for example, today is January 6th. If I go day, get date, right, and I run that, and I'll say as day of month. When I run that, it will return the day. Similarly, right, I can change this to the year, and when I run that, it will return the year. And I can change this to year. So this is really great when you're trying to kind of figure out and extract data from dates. But you might be wondering like, well, that's great, but what if I wanted to know what the date's going to be on a rolling 10 days, right? So what's the date going to be in 7 days? Well, that's where the date add function comes on. And the name date add is a little deceiving because you can add negative numbers, so you can also subtract, right? So if I go day and then I go 10 and then get date, what it will return is the day 10 days from now, right? And if I go ahead and I run this, what I'll get, right, is the 16th, even though today is the 6th. Similarly, right, I can subtract 10 days, and when I run this, it will give me 12/27 because that was 10 days ago. Now, I can also change this from day to month and get the date. That was 10 months. So right there, right, subtracted it, this date is 10 months ago. Now, you might be noticing a theme here, and that's in a lot of these date functions. What you first do is you type in the kind of the interval that you want to subtract. So year, month, day, some of them even take minutes or seconds, right, depending. And then you can give the value and then the date that you actually want this to happen on. So this doesn't just have to be get date. This could also be a date column that you're selecting. But typically when you're writing a date function, it's because you're wanting to use it in like a where statement. So for example, someone will say, hey, pull everything that's in the past 30 days, right? So you're then subtracting out 30 days from the current date to then use it in a where statement. And so you would put, right here, you would go date column, right, less than or greater than or equal to negative 30, right? And that would return, this would go in a where statement right here. So that's how you build a rolling 3-day. Now, when you're adding and subtracting days in particular, you actually don't need this date add function in just SQL Express. What you can instead do is use the bit more simpler +3, right? And this will return 19, or -3, right? So if I run this, -3, and that will return 3 days ago. So, but that's just with days. Now, you also might want to be able to basically return the interval between two dates, right? So maybe you have, so instead of adding on an interval of days, year, or month, you actually want to return that interval. And that is where the date diff function comes in. So if we go select date diff, and then we tell it the interval that we want it to return, right? So if I go day, and then I go and I give it a date. So I go 2025-01-01, and then versus today's date. So if I go get date, what it will return to me as days since year start. When I run this, it will return to me the number of days that have passed. Now, if I go ahead and I change this to months, right, what it will return when I run this is it'll return 0. So this function does not return kind of partial intervals, right? So it's not going to return 0.25. I would instead have to divide it by the total numbers in the year. But if I wanted to know, for example, how many days are between 2023 and today, right, I could run this, and it would go ahead and it would return 2 because it's 2025 right now, and 2023 was 2 years ago. So hopefully that's making sense. Now you might be like, well, I can use that to find the end of the month, and you can, right? So you could subtract or add a total number of days and try to back into what the end of the month was. But in SQL, there is actually a specific end of month function. So EOMOTH, right? If you return the get date, and I always put an underscore there, that's just habit, and I run this, it will return the end of the current month. Now you can combine this, right? So if I go -30, so subtracting out 30 days, what it will return will be 12/31. So I could actually embed in here, right? I could embed in a date add, right? And I could add an interval of a year, and I could go -2 or -3 to subtract that, and then embed here and run this. And what this will return is the end of the month from 3 years ago from today. So if I go ahead and I run this, right, there we go. It's returning a date in 2022. Now, if you might have noticed when I first ran that get date, it populated in with a timestamp. So that is a pretty stereotypical problem that you might run into when you're using filters, right? Especially you're using a date time filter on here. And what you really want to do is you want to strip out the timestamp and just have a flat date as of 12 a.m. So the start of the day. Let's talk about how you can do that in SQL Server. And then I don't have access to, for example, like an Oracle server, but we can talk about how you can do that before. So when you're truncating a date, I'm going to copy and paste in some notes in SQL Server. You're going to have to use essentially 2 date functions. You're going to have to use the date diff and the date add. So in order to first remove it, you use the date diff function to calculate the number of days between the base date and 190101. Then you essentially add that number of days back onto the date, onto 1901, which then gives you the current date with the time set to midnight. This is also known as date trunc, right? And in other systems, so in Oracle or Databricks, or like date underscore trunc. Another option here is you can also cast a date time as a date, but this is how you do this in Microsoft SQL. So let's look at an example. So if I go select and then I go date add and I go day right here, and then I go date diff, and then I go day, comma 0, comma get date, close, comma 0, close, what I will get is I'll get the current date and time with potentially the timestamp stripped off. Now, what's interesting is I can also do this for other periods of time, just like with the other functions. So if I go year and then change this to a year, what it will return is it will return the start of the year. Or, for example, if I change this to a month, right? And I think you get where I'm going, it will still return 1/1 because that's the start of this month, but it'll return the first of the month. This date trunc functionality is super useful. It's what enables you to essentially build out these dynamic reports where you're saying, hey, what's happened as of the first of the month, or what's happened as of the first of the year. So understanding the date trunc in like an Oracle system or the date add in a Microsoft system is incredibly important. So with that, let's move on to some problems. So problem number 1. I'm going to excuse my typing here. Identify the date 30 days ago. Okay, pause the video if you're following along and attempt this problem. All right, and we're back. So hopefully you were able to solve it, but if not, let's walk through the solution. So today's date is get date, and then we need to essentially subtract 30 days. So in this case, right, we're gonna go select, we're gonna go date add, and then we will go through and we'll go day, comma, -30, comma, get date. So there's the date 30 days ago. Another acceptable answer here would have been select get date -30. Now, one of the things you also might be noticing is that we still have the timestamp. So how do you remove that? Well, we just talked about that. So in order to remove the timestamp, right, you go date add, day, comma, date diff, day, comma 0, comma get date, comma 0. And we run this, right, it'll return the date right here, and then I could go -30, and here is the day 30 days ago as of midnight. This is probably what I would accept as the most correct answer, but you know, I think there's a couple of different ways that we could go on to this. Okay, time for problem number 2. Okay, problem number 2. Identify the number of days since the start of the year. And I want it to be dynamic, which means I want it to work if it's 2025. I want it to work if it's 2022. But I want it to be dynamic for the current year. So since we're in 2025, we want it to return the current year. So pause the video now and attempt the problem. So the first step for this one is essentially getting it to return the first of the year. So we can use the date trunc functionality we were talking about earlier and truncate it to the start of the year. So I'm going to go date add, year, date diff, year, comma 0, comma get date, comma 0, close. And when I run this, right, and I think I might be missing a parenthesis, right? Get date. Oh, yes, I am. Bum, bum, bum. So 0 needs to go there. So when I run this, right, here is the first of the year. Now I need to get the number of days in between this date right here and the current date. So in order to return the current date, remember it's just get date. And then we just need to go and put this all in a date diff, right? And we're going to want to return it in day, right? Then our starting date is the first of the year, and then our get date is the date. So now let's close that. And when we run that, we should get the total number of days. Now remember, date diff doesn't really do partial days. So in this case, the timestamp, we don't have to strip off out of the get date. If you've made it this far, I just wanted to say congratulations. I know these videos can be long and sometimes tedious to get through, but you're learning a new skill and you're improving yourself. And that's a big deal and one that you deserve to be congratulated for. If you enjoyed this video and learned something, please consider subscribing and liking the video, as well as checking out the other videos in this series. I'm currently making a Learn SQL for Free video series, which if you can't tell from this video, I'm going crazy in depth with. The idea will be is that you can watch it and you can do the exercises starting from video 1 and leave knowing SQL. And if you're currently working on learning SQL, I'd love to have you along for the journey. With that said, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you back.